Coming to you directly from TFL Studios in Boulder, Colorado, I am Andrei Smirnov, and this is Truck Madness.
Buckle up, y'all, because me, Truck Madness, is coming your way. 12 badass off-road trucks, 12 brackets, and only one winner. And you get to select the winner. It's Big Truck Madness. Big Truck Madness. Big Truck Madness. Big Truck Madness.
What is Truck Madness? This is where you decide on the best off-road pickup truck this year. Yes, you heard that correctly. Your votes determine the winners. We just present you the brackets, the way it's set up, but you vote and you also submit your video clips to us to support your vote. And at the end of this 4-part video series, we'll put it all together and you will know the Truck Madness champion. Here's how it works. We selected the Sweet 12. These are the 12 newest and latest and greatest off-road trucks available currently for sale in the United States. And they're seeded in this competition depending on their TFL ORI, Off-Road Index. In this video, we're going to explain all of that, how they're judged on this index, and also give you all of the 12 trucks that are participating and contending for the Truck Madness Championship. Here are the 12 trucks in contention. Lucky for us, TFL has the best announcers in the business. Here are our very own Nathan Adlin and Stephen Elmer to introduce the contenders. Let's meet the players.
Let's get the party started with It's Old But Bold. It's the 2020 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Hailing from San Antonio, Texas, the Tundra tips the scales at 5,640 pounds and has an ORI score of 71. This old truck sports the rock-solid iForce 5.7-liter V8 that makes 381 horsepower and 401 pound-feet of torque. It's mounted to a 5-speed automatic transmission that's older than most marriages. We call it the Grizzled Old Timer, 'cause it's old and mean.
Old doesn't mean weak, it means you have more experience. This is the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. This old dog weighs in at 4,620 pounds and hails from Canton, Mississippi. This year, the Frontier gets a new heart, a 3.8-liter V6 putting 310 horsepower to the ground, making it the most powerful mid-size pickup available right now. Sure, it doesn't turn great, and the interior does feel like a time capsule at this point, but if a bargain off-roader is what you're looking for, the Nissan dealership is the place to be. With that brand new heart and old body, we call it the TINMAN. Every good southern boy likes to play in the mud, and this one is no exception. Meet the Nissan Titan Pro 4X. Hailing from Canton, Mississippi, and weighing in at 5,873 pounds, the naturally aspirated 5.6-liter V8 under the hood of this beast puts others to shame with its raucous exhaust note and 400 charging horsepower. It doesn't have the most off-road goodies of the bunch, but with a willing attitude and strong work ethic, the Titan Pro 4X might just be the underdog we all come to respect. We call it the Tennessee Terror.
Okay, so now you saw the first 3 players on the list, but before we move on to the Chevy Silverado Trail Boss, here's our own TFL field reporter, Tommy Micah, with an exclusive interview with the Trail Boss.
All right, Tommy here. I'm out here in the field with one of the competitors, the Trail Boss. Now, Mr. Trail Boss, you've got a new nickname, the Swagger Boss. What do you think of this new title? All right, interesting. Now, the big question is, you just have the 5.3-liter. There is a bigger, more powerful engine available. How do you think your odds are? All right, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for you.
Sporting an in-your-face design and attitude to match, it's impossible to mistake the Chevrolet Silverado Trail Boss for anything else. Born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the Silverado Trail Boss is equipped with a 5.3-liter V8 engine weighs in at 5,240 pounds. The 5.3-liter V8 makes 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. It's hooked up to a 10-speed automatic transmission. The Trail Boss is hurt by its mediocre G80 limited spin rear diff and polarizing smile. We call it the Swagger Boss. Hitting the ground at high speed is the 2020 Ford Ranger FX4. Born in Wayne, Michigan, the Ranger weighs in at 4,441 pounds and has an ORI score of 76. Packing a turbocharged 270 horsepower, 2.3-liter four-banger, sourced from its pony cousin, the Mustang, it comes standard with a 10-speed automatic transmission. Still, the lack of a manual transmission option and its simple interior may irk a few fans. We call this little Ford the Speed Freak.
Lock both differentials and load up the suspension. This is the Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison. Weighing in at 4,671 pounds for an extended cab and hailing from Wentzville, Missouri, it gets a full hot-stamped boron steel skid plate package, which means these plates might as well have been forged by Zeus himself in the fires of Mount Olympus. Protection is important on this truck as it just clears the rocks with barely enough clearance. But whether you're wide open in the desert or crawling up the steepest cliffs, the ZR2 will perform time and time again. We call it multi-magic.
By now you're probably wondering, what is ORI exactly and how is it determined? Well, here's how.
The TFL Off-Road Index, or the TFL ORI, is based on a scale of 0 to 100, with 0 being a NASCAR with slicks on its ability to go off-road, and 100 being the perfect off-roader. So let's kind of break down how we get to those numbers. First and foremost, we assign 20 points for either having all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. If the vehicle has a transfer case, that's an additional 20 points. If it doesn't have a transfer case, but it has terrain management, then we give it 5 points. All-terrain tires get you 10 points. If it has 9 inches or more of ground clearance, and that can either be from the factory or with air suspension that gets you over that amount, you get an additional 5 points. Diff locks, 5 points for the front, 5 points for center, 5 points for the rear. Very similar with armor, except that if you have front, center, and rear armor, you only get 3 points for each of those. Now, let's talk about approach, departure, and breakover angle. If you meet a 25-degree minimum standard, then you get, once again, 5, 5, and 5 for approach, breakover, and departure. Now, finally, if you have rear-facing cameras, then you'll end up with nothing. But if you have front-facing cameras, because rear-facing cameras are basically mandated now, you get 5 points. And finally, we're allowing 1 point for subjective opinion. In other words, what we think of it. And that is a total of 100, or the perfect off-roader.
The newest heavy-duty bruiser on the block is the Ford F-250 Tremor. Calling Louisville, Kentucky and Avon Lake, Ohio home, the Tremor tips the scales at a whopping 7,262 pounds. That's with the diesel. Equipped with the Godzilla 7.3-liter gas V8 that makes 430 horsepower and 475 pound-feet of torque. There's also the Mechagodzilla 6.7-liter diesel that makes 475 horsepower and a massive 1,050 pound-feet of torque. We call this beast the Ground Pounder.
With a yell, this rouser hits the trail. This is the Ram Rebel. Coming to us from Sterling Heights, Michigan, and tipping the scales at 5,372 pounds. This is the only truck here that can be lifted to the sky thanks to air suspension. A V8 or a newly introduced diesel engine can provide motivation, while the big 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratracs are some of the best all-terrains money can buy. Rebel might not be a desert destroyer, examples of which can be found at crosstown rivals Ford and Chevy, but it is a well-rounded package ready to tackle snow, mud, sand, and everything in between. We call it Wolverine. The truck that has been taking a bite out of the competition for a full decade. This is the Ford Raptor. Weighing in at 5,525 pounds for a super cab and hailing from Dearborn, Michigan, this desert destroyer gets its power from not one, but 2 turbochargers, shoving air into a 3.5-liter V6 engine, helping it to produce 450 stampeding horsepower. Its huge size might hold it back on smaller trails, and sure, the Turbo V6 does sound like 14 Dyson vacuum cleaners all short-circuiting at once, but there are few trucks in the land that deliver the all-out thrills of this big dyno. We call it the Banshee.
As you can see, some of the trucks are tied on their ORI score. So how do we break the tie? Well, it's done by the starting retail price. The cheaper the truck with the same score gets preference and it gets seated higher. All right, let's meet the final 3 contestants.
Oh yeah, this crowd favorite sells like hotcakes. Years of popularity haven't diminished the dominance of the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. With its birthplace both in San Antonio and Mexico, the ever-popular Tacoma tips the scales at 4,445 pounds. Equipped with a 3.5-liter V6 making 278 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque, this taco gives you a choice of a 6-speed, automatic, and manual transmission. But some fans want to see more meat on the tires, more power under the hood, and more headroom too. We call this rig the Golden Boy. Still, after all these years, representing the heavy-duty rinks with distinction, it's the 2020 Ram Power Wagon. This heavy-duty icon hails from Colua, Mexico, and weighs in at 7,055 pounds. Power comes from the big 6.4-liter Hemi V8 that makes 410 horsepower and 429 pound-feet of torque. But some HD fans may lament the tiny tires, lack of a diesel option, and low hauling numbers. We call this beast the Rock Smasher.
Attention! It's time to meet the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. Weighing in at 5,072 pounds and hailing from Toledo, Ohio, this military machine brings a whole new level of off-road capability to the world of small pickups with its massive ground clearance and epic approach angle. Though this truck was born on the rocks of the Rubicon Trail, the newly announced Gladiator Mojave is sure to get the desert race enthusiast's heart pounding. This is one of the most competent off-road vehicles on the market, period. We call it Sarge.
So what happens next? As I told you before, Truck Madness is a 4-part series, so we have 3 other videos left, and they're going to be published every Sunday on this channel, TFL Truck. On the next episode of Truck Madness, we will show you the results of your voting for the first part of the bracket. We're matching up number 1 seed, which is the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon, against the number 12 seed, which is a Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. The next matchup is the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro versus the Nissan Titan Pro 4X. And finally, it's the Ram Rebel versus the Ford Ranger FX4. Now the ball is in your court. If you're looking at the TFL Truck channel on your phone, you'll see the 3 separate polls, 1 for each matchup, so you can enter your votes right there. If you're looking at it on your phone or your laptop or other device, you can click on the community page on the TFL Truck YouTube channel and actually vote for those trucks right there. And you have a limited time to do so. The first round of voting closes at 10 a.m. Eastern Time this Thursday, May 7th. Of course, you can come back for the second episode in the series, which is going to be on May 10th, right here, the same place. If you own one of the trucks that are listed in this first batch of matchups, the 3 matchups we just showed you, you also have an option of submitting us a video clip of your truck that's participating in this series and send it to us. You can either use WeTransfer, file transfer, or just use Google Drive and email us a link of your video clip. You have about 60 seconds to show us your truck and tell us why it should win. Guys, thank you for this. Let us know what you think about Truck Madness in the comment section below. And of course, come back to this channel and TFLtruck.com for all the latest truck, trailer, and accessory reviews. And we'll see you next Sunday right here for more Truck Madness.
Madness! Truck Madness! May Truck Madness! Coming your way this May. Stay tuned for updates soon.